Hi, everyone. My name is Megan, and I work on the marketing team at PC NameTag. And today I'm here with Adam from RSVPify. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Megan.
All right. So we have another interesting thing we're going to talk about today, and that is how to accommodate last-minute registrants at your event. And I know this can be a big pain point for our event planners that we work with. So I'm assuming that that is also something that you struggle with. So it'll be kind of interesting. I'm going to talk about how we can kind of approach that through a live events perspective with event badges. And then Adam's going to talk a little bit more from a tech perspective.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
All right, so I wanted to talk about two different kind of methods you can use to accommodate those last minute on-site signups when people show up just on the day of event, and what you can do to make sure they have a good looking badge. So that's something that I've gotten a lot of questions about. So I thought this would be a good video to cover that. So here is our on-site registration badge. And so what you can do is you can work with PC NameTag and we will pre-print this badge for you. But then if you see here, it comes with a pocket on the front. So what you can do is we can pre-print these badges. And then what you can do is when people show up on site, you can just pre-print these inserts and then you can just stick it right into the pocket. So that's a nice way to have a nice looking badge, but make sure everybody's names are good to go when they arrive at your event. So you can just do it right on demand. You can do it beforehand and stuff them. It kind of just depends what you are looking for. But this is a customer favorite with us. So this is kind of like a higher end look if you want something a little bit more upscale looking.
I think you wouldn't know, I don't think, which is kind of the cool part about it, right? Like I think if I saw that, I would be like, oh, totally professional, exactly what I would expect, so it's a pretty great last minute fix.
What tips do you have, Adam?
So, obviously a lot of what we deal with is going to be, as a registration platform is helping people, obviously get a handle on their events. But in a world where like tons of people are coming in, or you're getting, these big events, hundreds of at event registrations or the day ofs, one thing that we've definitely noticed with our event planner partners is a frustration with if they haven't done their homework on sort of the software platform they're using. A lot of the more well-known platforms actually are super rigid about making changes to an event website or a registration form. And so this is a huge problem, right? Because if you can't get your platform updated based on a venue change or, a new entrance at your convention center to handle the kind of bigger attendance, you're going to have problems, right? And it's going to be a kind of chaotic experience. And so, number one recommendation from us, from what we've seen, what we've been learning from event planners is, to make sure when you're signing your contract with your event software platform, especially for these big events, make sure you ask them what the flexibility and the options for customization are. A lot of people assume that's part of it, right? You assume when you're the event planner, you're in control. And it's not actually the case with a lot of software platforms. So, at RSVPify, we basically let people do whatever they want in terms of changing their website or their invitations or the registration deadline. We try to give control to them. We also don't charge for that kind of a late change, but like these are things that others do. So, number one thing I think would help some of the stress here would be to make sure that you early in your, when you're shopping for an event software platform or a reg platform, that you are kind of asking that question. There might be features that are offered for a more robust platform, but they might not let you make changes later on, which is going to be a real problem. You don't want that chaos. You don't want to have to ideally use those name tags, although that is a great solution if you do. But I think, we try to help our event planners find a way to, be able to customize even up to that as close to the day as possible.
Less stress is a good thing. So we definitely want to be able to help you so that you don't have to worry about last minute changes. And that kind of brings me to my next option that you can do as a planner. So if you do want to stick with pre-printed badges, these are our standard event badge. So what you can do is you can ask your event badge provider for art-only badges. So imagine you get your badges printed and there's no name here. There's just a white space in the middle of the badge. What we can do is we can include blanks, or what we call art-only badges. So if you have people registering on the day of the event, you want them to have a similar looking badge. But what you can do is you can actually you can kind of see it shimmering here. You can keep a blank label printer on site. And what you can do is when they register, you can print their name and stick it on a label and put it right on the badge. So from afar, you can't really tell that it's, any different than anybody else's badge. So that's something that we recommend is have plenty of art-only badges. And we typically recommend whatever the number of registrants you have, take 10% of that and order that many art-only badges. So it's a nice way to have that upscale looking badge, but make sure everybody has a similar looking look to their badge.
So you actually, just kind of fed into what I was going to suggest from a software standpoint, which is marrying a solution like this, on the actual day of, with your strategy that you were planning for months before in terms of your software platform, right? Like I think that ideal world, everything goes smoothly, never happens, and so
we wish.
Right. And so I think what's, kind of nice about this is that if you can kind of think about your planning as you're thinking about your registration, you think about your kind of ongoing guest list and your guest list management as a living document, you also really, really, really want to develop a on-site strategy that you have kind of aligned with that, right? Like I think that some planners fall into the habit of like the software platform is everything that's in there is what's going to be. But I think that's where we have the kind of day of chaos is when we don't have that. And so I think that there's also an easy way to do this from a software side. You can, if you're using sort of self-check-in kiosks, which is something a lot of our, kind of bigger event planning clients do, you can always kind of designate a, day of registration area for potentially the people that have to go and talk to an attendance person or somebody that would need to really walk them through it. You can have your self-check-in kiosks over here and have people that are pre-registered that were there, up to a week ahead of time or something. They can go straight through. And there's two wins to this, right? One is obviously you can still get everybody that wants to come in. The other thing is you kind of subtly incentivize the people to register early, right? We want to give them, some special treatment, faster check-in. Maybe there's some benefits or some early bird specials that go through that way too. But I think, one thing that we're seeing some people starting to do, and I think will be helpful for a lot of event planners is to, kind of think about their check-in process as something that can be divided between what you knew was going to happen and what is happening on the big day. And so that way people going in the one line, they can go get their badges. These couple cool options that you've shown, and then you've still got that, but then you also just can do your traditional seamless piece on the other side and makes an event planner look professional, makes them look good.
Event badges should not be something that should stress you out. So working with PC NAMETAG and, RSVPify, we want to make sure that it goes as smoothly as possible. So you can kind of marry those two solutions and have a really great event experience for your attendees.
We definitely think like this is a natural match if you're looking for something to kind of both the long-term planning and for like those last minute attendees. I mean, I think you can't do worse than combining the two of us, and I think we've got you covered.
All right, thank you so much, Adam. I appreciated all the tips that you shared with me, and I'm going to leave the link to our 2 blog articles. So if you're looking to learn more event registration trends that we have for this year, definitely check out both Adam's blog from a tech perspective and my blog from more of an in-person perspective. So thanks so much for joining me, Adam. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Meaghan. Always nice talking to you.
Have a good one.
You too.